What's up? I'm back with another one. Kind of been on a little streak here. 3 videos in 2 days. Anyway, I'm gonna get right to it, man. Because I had it on my mind the whole way I'm driving here. I'm like, man, you got the brokers. Their little FMCSA transparency rule and law and ruling and whatnot. Now, I just seen a little bit of information about it. In fact, the first person I heard it from, I'm gonna give him a shout out, Icewater 815. He was doing live calls with brokers, showing you that, you know, this is required, that they give you the information of the complete contract deal. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing upon request. He's requesting, and you know, they basically telling them they don't do that, and we're not going to give up the information, and you know, talk to somebody else, and you know, I got to go, I got other things to do, my time is precious, shit like that. I'm like, damn. So I've had a lot of experience with brokers and agents through Landstar. And I listened to a couple of the brokers today and their views on it. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not feeling their position at all. The level of arrogance, the level of anger that they are exhibiting, you know, the fact that they believe that this whole deal between 3 persons should be a 2-sided deal, and one person should be completely left in the dark about anything. I just think that's crazy. One of them, he was like, where do brokers give you information on what they make on the deal? Real estate brokers and stockbrokers, they don't do that. Thinking to myself, wait a minute. He can't believe what he just said. I've got an active trading account. My shares, there's a portion of my shares, a percentage that goes to a broker fee. There are other fees, but there's a broker fee. It's got an exact number on that motherfucker, because I wouldn't want to gain money in the stock market and then sell, prepare to pull that money out and not know exactly what the fuck I was gonna get. With houses, real estate brokers, they get a commission. They get a certain percentage of the sale on the house. You know exactly what that is. There's no person who walks away from selling their house and they don't know exactly what they need to pay out, who gets paid off of it, and what they'll have in their pocket. It's all in the contract. You know, same thing with lawyers. I had a lawyer. I already knew he requested 33%, which is extremely high, but the case was extremely important and we were going to make a lot of money. 33% was his cut. If I didn't want to deal with him, I'd go get another lawyer. You know, maybe he'd take a different cut, but this one was a good lawyer. The case was difficult. 33%. Pretty much everything you do has a price tag on it, including taxes. So I thought it was disingenuous for a person to get upset, and I don't want to disclose that. You know why you don't want to disclose that? Because being a broker, you're like a gatekeeper. You hold all the keys. There are no real negotiations between you and truck drivers, because truck drivers don't even have a common reference from where to even start the negotiation. You throw out a number, the truck driver has to read books on negotiating and learn how to get his spit right Spit. I got that from another truck driver. He had to, learn how to talk to you to somehow, it feels like, coerce you to come off of what? Another $100? That's what it is. It's always another $100. And most of the times you call, they drop it by $100. It's to the point to where my Excel spreadsheet is so on point. I know exactly what's profitable and what's not. If it's not, it blinks red. If it's good, it's green. But the problem is the upscale. You can't upscale like that, not in no meaningful way based on the rates. So that's kind of like a different topic. This guy was talking like, I'll let you know if you ask me what I'm getting on it. So that means you're telling me if you had a load from Indianapolis to Long Beach, let's throw a number out there, $12,000, and you posted $3,000, because you all know we see loads on the board going that far for $3,000. Let's say you weren't that shitty. Let's say you put $5,000. So you mean to tell me you let me know that you about to pocket 7 bands on a load that you really have nothing to do with? Well, I connect you with the shipper. We don't even need you. We see the shipper. You may have talked to the shipper on the phone or got an email, but who pulls up, goes in there, gets paperwork, signs their name on those bills of lading? Who's got all the responsibility for the load? Who's got to transport the load? Who's got to own the equipment to even begin to do any of this and everything that you got to do and go through to even get to that phase? Who ain't got all the certifications in these schools and rode around with a trainer and did all this old bullshit in the beginning days? Who did all that? You went and got an internet connection. You use your credit and got a bond. You got a cell phone or a laptop. And most of the time when I call you, either at home, at lunch. I spoke to one broker, I'm on my boat. Wow, really? I'll call you back. Oh, it's that good. Okay. So what do you really do? Because I guarantee you, in this information age, the more we learn about how this stuff works, the need for a middleman, because that's what you really are. I started off calling you a gatekeeper, but you're really just a middleman. The need for middlemen is going, it's going to dwindle. Not for the stupid, but for the thinkers, for the real hustlers, because I heard the brokers call themselves hustlers. No, you schemers, man. One of them was like, it's you perceive. You act like other brokers don't talk to drivers. We know that you guys do dirt among each other. I had a broker that I worked with closely. He went as far as putting loads on me 2 weeks in advance so that he can lock them down. Now, if I was in the area within 2 weeks in the future, I could pull the load. But if I wasn't, I was like a placeholder for that load so that nobody else could snatch it up and then he can give it to a driver that's in that area around that time. We worked together. We had to work the system like that because basically he was pulling from a pool of loads among other brokers and they were doing it. And he was a good guy, Christian dude. He didn't want to do no dirt. I had to convince him, man, you got to get in where you can, man. You can't, if you want to wait till the day of, all of them are going to be taken all the time. They're all going to be always covered. It's just the attitude that I see from brokers. What do you really do? I mean, because in my truck, I'm not in my truck, I'm in a company truck now, but in my truck, I've got a full-size CPU, screen, printer. The only next step is to get an authority, a brokerage authority, get the insurance, download a couple of apps, and start making phone calls for myself. Most of us are already on that. Either putting our family members to do it or doing it ourselves, man, just because, I mean, you ain't gonna cheat yourself. Brokers are mad. Yeah. They trying to see things from both sides, but, you know, brokers are upset because they don't believe that they need to a three-party deal needs to have 1/3 of it cut out. That's a 2-party deal. Even in negotiations, what negotiations between anybody does everybody come to the table, 2 people step into another room, negotiate, and then they come back into the room where you're standing, and then one person tells you this is what it's gonna be, take it or leave it, or no, this is what it is, let's see if we can negotiate. Man, that's a 2-party negotiation with the first 2, shipper, broker, and then the broker comes and does another negotiation with you, which would be a whole totally different contract that ain't got nothing to do with you and the other person, the shipper. Imagine if the carrier and the shipper negotiated and the broker was just standing in the room. Would there even be a need to come back and negotiate with the broker for anything? You don't own shit. You don't move shit. You're not getting pulled over by DOT, blowing out tires. There's a stark difference when you look at broker videos and you look at truck driver videos. Brokers are standing on vast amounts of land and, you know, posh houses, nice cars, riding around all day, talking and shit. You never really see them working, you know, unless the video is at the desk and they're pretending to work by trying to sell you some shit about how to become a broker. But it's completely different when you see truckers. Truckers are under the hood, fixing broken down APUs, getting towed, DOT, getting pulled into the scale, you know, sitting in the truck and shit, layovers and detention, which, to be quite honest, isn't even getting paid out fairly. You know, in the truck, away from home, lifespan and is just getting shorter and shorter while in these trucks. And you got somebody on the phone telling you what you deserve to do that. Not even coming fairly to the table, to the negotiating table, and saying, look, this is what we got. Let's see if we can negotiate how this can work out for all of us. Nah. $600, 300 miles. That's a good rate. $600, 300 miles, that's a good rate. I can't really go in on you too much because obviously you don't drive trucks, you don't know nothing about it, which is crazy because you should. Because truck drivers are learning a lot about you and your business. Not to mention, you post it all the time, talking about it. And then some of our guys, because it is a us versus them type thing, some of our guys get on the phones with you and you really reveal your horns. But now you're mad, right? You're somehow being inconvenienced because you believe you should be able to work a deal and not tell anybody anything about it. Imagine a stockbroker coming to me with a share price for a company and saying, hey, this moves at $2 a share. You can take it or leave it. And I find out, man, this company is actually selling these shares at 50 cents. Actually, that's kind of reverse. Let's say, I don't know, that one probably wasn't a good analogy. But cars, a car salesman. He comes out, you see MSRP right there on the sticker. You know, no, it's really not going for that. It's actually going for 10,000 more. And then, you know, we're gonna hit you with the fees and finance charges. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, they run the numbers, make it look good. Oh, you can afford these payments. But in reality, if you broke those payments down per month, you didn't pay 1.5 times the price of the fucking car. Let me keep it in the trucking so it don't get too complicated. In trucking, some of the brokers were saying, I didn't hear all these complaints when 2020, 2021, 2022 people were raking in money. You know why that is? It's like everything. It's like everything. There's a threshold. I mean, why do economies or populations revolt? Because there's a threshold. They'll take a certain amount, and then they'll take a little less, and then they'll take a little less, and then there's a point where it's like, yo, we can't go below this. But what is the broker doing? Pushing it down even further and blaming it on outside factors. Like all truckers don't follow the stock market. Like we're not all on freight waves. Like we're not all watching the freight index. You know, we're all looking for clues to figure out how to get some extra money and how much money is being made and what's going on. And nobody in trucking, besides a company driver who's not probably paying attention, believes that you're going to load up Can-Am ATVs or slingshots on a truck, move that across 2 states, and somebody negotiated that rate at a U-Haul price. Because that's the first thing that happened. Who's negotiating these rates? That was the first marker. Everybody's looking at the brokers like, man, I wouldn't have even negotiated a rate like that. Who's negotiating rates like this? And then they keep popping up on the board. Boom, one after the other. It's like, man, either they're horrible negotiators or the economy is really gone to shit. And it's that veil between the broker and the trucker where we don't know what the fuck is going on in the back rooms that keeps us in the blind. Now, why do truckers move cheap freight? There's a myriad of reasons why truckers move cheap freight. You got a lot of foreigners out here operating shadow companies, running 140 hours in a week. You got a lot of under the hand deals going on. You got a lot of people who were just over leveraged and they just can't, for their pride's sake, let go of some of the shit that they done bought so that they can get their overhead down and so that they can operate. But even if they were, like, get myself as an example, I own the truck, I own my house, I own all of the little things in and out and around my house and in the storage unit. I own it all. I have an $800 overhead. That's just me to survive, minus food. $800. So in theory, a broker would look at that and say, I can give you a load for $2,000 from here to Florida, Indianapolis to Florida, and you should be straight. And all the rest of the month, you should run those for free. That seems to be the logic. They want to act like it's their intellect, their hustle, their ambition. There's a word that Detroiters used to call us when I worked for the Indianapolis Star-News. Indianapolis Star-News was taking on calls for the Detroit Free Press because they went on strike. So we'd call Detroiters to see if they wanted to buy the papers. Obviously, this is old, right? The people who would answer the phone would get mad and hang up. Or they'd answer the phone and say, scab. What is a scab? There's a wound, bleeding. Now the scab comes in, tries to heal the wound. It's supposed to protect the wound until the skin and all of that infection and all that shit is covered over with fresh skin, and then the scab falls off. The scab always falls off. The scab is very ugly as it sits on your skin too. It's there to help, but there's a wound. What caused the wound? I'm saying that the brokers are causing the wound. And they're the scab. And they're gonna fall off. Human psychology proves that when times are good, people get lax with their finances. Truckers did. Brokers did. I know brokers who've gotten cars repoed. I know they're trying to keep up and they're over leveraged and they don't want to change their lifestyle. All the truckers have. All of us have. You know how many of them have gone out of business? How many of them, like myself, at companies trying to weather the storm? It's expected that the economic conditions will, be cyclical and go through ups and downs. It's expected the fuel prices will rise and fall. Wars will break out. It's all expected. What's not expected is asking a person to live at tremendously less to actually do what they need to do and still ask for the same or more production out of them. Why are truckers complaining? If you had a kid and for years you were setting 3-course meals in front of them to eat so that they grow up strong and become healthy people, full, energetic, and then you turn around and you start taking portions off. There's a threshold before the kid starts to cry and complain. When it's down to rice, no milk, no sugar, no butter, and toast made out of Jesus bread, do you look at the kid? Why are you complaining? You still eating? Yeah, but the little bastard's fucking malnutritioned. You don't see the scurvy breaking out? The ringworm? You hadn't brought broccoli in this motherfucker in months. My analogies are a little off, but you get the point. The nerve of a broker to say that things won't change. That's like saying ELDs and 10-hour rest breaks didn't change trucking. You try to find parking after 6 p.m., you'll know that that's not the truth. People will still take it. No. I know nobody, even the dumbest of the dumb trucker, isn't gonna say, $12,000 run. Yeah, you keep 7, I take 5. No. I take 8, you take 4. No. No, not for what, 2-minute, 3-minute phone call and an email? You get to do all that? Well, I connected you guys. It's almost like back in the day. I seen this with my own eyes. A couple guys I know, whatever. They were snorting powder, right? They hadn't gotten the powder yet, but one of them gave dude enough to go get 3 grams of powder, because he knew the connector or whatever the dude was. Dude comes back, shit's like 2 grams. He wasn't expecting dude to have a scale. He put it on the scale, argument breaks out, fight breaks out. That's the connection we have between the shipper, broker, carrier. Except we can't, where we gonna find the brokers at? You know what I'm saying? So is exactly the same. You wasn't expecting us to have a scale. We had to have a common reference for fucking negotiation. We can't just have a number thrown out there and it ain't even a negotiation. It's one-sided the whole way. This is the price. That's the one we have listed. Okay, so what'd you get it from the carrier for? Oh, we don't give out that information. What? Oh, too much confidential information on there. Yeah, when you want to talk to me, I gotta have apps that follow my truck. I gotta give you all my numbers, phone number, email. I'm giving you everything. Driver's license numbers. I give up more of my personal information, signing bills of lading and checking in with shippers and talking to brokers than I do any other time in my life besides something important. And I can't even see what the numbers are. Hey, dude over there wants to sell you a house. Yeah, what's he want to sell it for? $950. Damn. So what'd you go get it for? To bring it to me? Oh man, don't even worry about that. Just give me the $950, man. Deed is yours. Dude really selling the house for $500,000. That's what a middleman does. That's what a broker does. You're in the way, truthfully. There's too much information in the information age for you to really keep this change from happening. It's too much. And you did too much talking online too. That's the other thing. You got happy. I want another hustle. I'm gonna do a YouTube. And now you're on YouTube blabbing your mouth off. It's the perception. It's in your mind that what? You kidding me? It's in my mind when I'm looking at freight rates. All of us, it's all a perception, perceive ripoff. We're all perceiving ripoff. Is that what it is? No, you just hit a threshold and all you did was tighten your grip around the driver's neck. I ain't coming up off of nothing less than this. You done bought S550s and riding around in G-Wagons, and I ain't coming off nothing. They gonna lose because where one motherfucker won't take it, another one will. That changes dramatically, even for a stupid motherfucker, when they see 50% profit on your end, 60% profit on your end. Hell, I would even say 25% profit on your end. Yeah, I think you should get 15 at best. Some of the drivers out here, you done fucked over so bad, they done went out of business and lost everything after doing all of that shit I said previously just to get to where they are. Man, they might only give you 2% for picking up your phone and answering an email. What you got to pay for? You're at home. I'm hearing the dogs and the kid in the background. You're riding around in traffic. I'm at the stoplight. Let me pull over. Yeah, okay. I'm on my boat. How many times do brokers call truck drivers? Oh, I'm on a flight back from London. Yeah, we'll talk when I get there. Oh, I'm on my boat out here fishing with some friends. We'll talk when I get back, or negotiate something on the spot while I'm on my boat. Jet skis and shit. You just caught me right before I was about to jump out this plane and skydive. Nah, we always in these motherfucking trucks. And hey, you may not like it. That's the life we chose and shit. You know, that's cool. But the whole objective of an owner op is to get up from up under motherfuckers. And we then got our credit together, which is something we should all do, but financial literacy is kind of lacking throughout the country. We get that together, then we get our money together, and we usually do it with a company, learn the ropes and do all that old shit. and then the company caps you out. Oh, sorry, 2,500 a week is the best we can do. If you work your ass off to get that, okay, cool. Motherfuckers save up quietly, bubble, go ahead and purchase a truck, go ahead and purchase a trailer, plates, authority, and endorsements and insurance and all of the fucking different things that you got to pay, and then fix the truck and trailer, so make sure that it's good, and then save money so that in case something happens while you're out there, you can fall back on that. We go through all that while you're just typing, laid up somewhere. I didn't call brokers and they were fucking asleep. Give me a second, let me call you back. Walk downstairs. Lazy motherfuckers, and now you believe that you deserve. It's a pimp game, that's what it is. Motherfuckers ain't gonna like to hear it. The drivers, the owner ops, the hoes. Brokers, the pimps. Pimps only answer to the shippers because they actually have the fucking freight coming in from wherever the fuck. China, Venezuela. That's the only people they really beholden to. Yes, I've heard brokers panic and shit when shippers get upset and don't like a thing that a broker may have done. It gets a broker in line real quick all of a sudden. Drivers ain't had that capability. That means we're all on uneven planes. And the fact that you think we should do business and I don't even know what the fuck the price was that you negotiated. Now, if the price is high enough for me to maintain my business in the upscale, that's a threshold that we're above. But when it's me and everybody out here and we're like, these prices ain't even enough to fucking operate. In fact, we're running at a deficit, and I still don't know what the fuck you negotiated this rate at for. $600 for 300 miles. Who negotiates a rate like that? You can go to U-Haul and move that shit for that price. Why do you even need a truck this big to move that shit? It's $600. Put it on a pickup. There's one right there. Go to U-Haul, get a little trailer, throw that shit in, you go deliver that shit. You don't even need permits or nothing. You could actually drive around with a suspended license and do that. Basically, it ain't negotiations. It ain't it's one-way negotiation. I won't even call it negotiations. It's not negotiations. It's drivers begging for more on a rate that's already a bottom floor rate. Because that's what you're doing, you're begging. You ain't got no more on that, you can't do more than that. 600, I can do 9. Why the fuck didn't you start with 9? Because I want to save 300 for myself. Each truck, each load. 10 trucks a day. Really? Without ever having to own one, huh? Without ever having to come out of your air-conditioned office. Or living room. Or kitchen. Or a boat. I've been doing this since 2017. And there's always pressure from outside forces that are trying to keep you in a position of subservience. And slowly, a lot slower than I would like to have seen, slower than some, faster than others, I've put myself in a position to where I can call my own shots. The one thing, there's only one thing, and it ain't the FMCSA and their regulations. There's only one thing that I see as the biggest barrier to me to getting to the money. And that is the middleman, the scab. who wants to not even show me what the fuck the negotiated rate was. Now, if I had as many trucks and trailers as this place, I would obviously not even deal with the broker. We go straight to the shipper. That's the downside of being a one truck operation. Shippers need volume. They need to move volume. And it'd be ridiculous for them to sit and do 1 million contracts with 1 million different drivers, all at different rates, to go different places and do different things. And I'm sure on a micro scale that's probably possible or whatnot, but you really need volume. The brokers don't even have the fucking volume. They don't even have the equipment. The ones that do, smart. The drivers that have their own brokerages, smart. Because they have to have a foot in each side to get a good negotiated rate. But to the guy who's just on 1/3 of the negotiation, and it's the bottom third that doesn't even see what the fuck is going on during negotiations, nah, it's not good. So transparency, I'm all for it. Oh, this will fuck up in this and cause infighting among brokers. Man, who cares? There's already infighting between brokers. There's infighting between shippers. It's capitalism. Put the rate out there. $7,000. Let's sit down and talk about it. We'll negotiate from there. But then I'll always be on the short end because you don't do shit. You know what I'm saying? Period. You negotiated. Okay. My lawyer did the same thing. He negotiated. What if he walked away with 66% and I got 33%? That was not a good negotiation. The only reason you exist is because of what I do and what the shipper does. But that's gonna change. These apps, which will probably be bad for us, but that's gonna put a lot of brokers out of business. People are gonna get fed up in trucking, and that's gonna put a lot of truckers out of business. A lot of them are quitting already. And then it'll just be the mega carriers and the shippers. And then the brokers, since they suggest you need to get a side hustle and have a plan B and another thing to do, they'll have to go and find something else to do. You know, 3-card Molly, whatever the fuck. Some other scheme where they don't have to produce anything on their side except a fucking phone or some shit. Playing cards. If the ruling hadn't gone through, I hope it does. Every load, I want to see what you negotiated. So I can look at you like, you dumb son of a bitch. You negotiated that rate? Or, oh, hey, you negotiated a good rate. Yeah, let's start at 25%. And we ain't going up from 25%. And that's how they negotiate with us. You know, I'm going to take 75% and, you know, let's start you at 10% and see if we can work, if you can negotiate and beg your way and you know, try to coerce me into giving you somewhere around 20%, because I ain't even going to give you 25%. That's all I got in it. The words are going to change. Instead of that's all I got in it, that's all you going to get. I might put that on my truck. That's all you going to get. Now I'm talking this shit from a company truck. And you say to yourself, motherfucker, you wasn't even able to run your business properly. I think this is a great plan B for my business. My business is still in operation. Playing with the rates, I decided let the company take on those costs. I'll get a straight rate from them, which, by the way, is similar to what owner ops are getting. I don't tear my truck up. I get to recoup Hell, they even got great benefits. All kinds of extra shit. And weekends off. I lose some freedoms. And you know, my brother, he used to be a banker. He was the one that suggested it to me. Being a proud owner op, I told him, nah, man, I'm not going company. He was like, man, listen, I see your freight rates. This shit is only gonna get worse. He's friends with a broker too. One of those guys who gets the shit off the ship, off the ports, and sends it on the train. Big dude in the business. And even him, he you know, because I asked him questions to ask him, he says that dude was like quantity over the price. He was like, maybe I only make 15%, but if I move a shit ton of them, if I move a lot of them, I still win. That might be the broker's problem. They want to move 10 loads a week, make 50%, 60%, 30%. You know, to pay the bills and stack up some money and keep making videos on YouTube and bullshitting and telling us how wrong we are for wanting to see the negotiations outright. This guy sounds pretty smart. He's like, shit, yeah, it's gonna get to a point, you know, shit, now it's about quantity. Maybe brokers need to work harder. Maybe you need to secure more contracts so you can make the same amount of money. I mean, we're moving more loads just to try to make what the fuck we was making. Heavier loads and incurring more expenses on repairs. Perhaps maybe you're lazy. Shit. I ain't got nothing against brokers, man, except this ain't negotiations. It ain't negotiations when there's backroom deals being done, and then you come to the table and say, this is what we got in this. Well, what'd you get it for? None of your business. How the fuck are we doing business if that ain't none of my business? That's the most important part of business, revenue. Can you move it or not? Because I can go find another dumb, ignorant motherfucker who can't count that will. Well, we can count, motherfucker. And the numbers ain't numbering. The math ain't mathing. And the only motherfucker we can look at, since you don't like all of the backlash, is the motherfucker who's hiding the numbers. Or negotiating bad numbers, one or two of the two or both. So what did you expect? You was gonna put your foot on the neck of truck drivers until what? Nah, man. We fail, you fail, motherfucker. You may fail after us. But like I said, brokers, I know 2 brokers. Cars repoed. One of their wives is thinking about divorce. Probably cheating on them and shit. You may say that's a bad broker, because I hit these truckers over the head and get them to move freight all across the country, man. Shit, for 15 cents on the dollar. And they don't even complain. Yeah. That's why I got that OOIDA sticker on the side of my motherfucking truck. I don't mind sending them money if they gon' do something and it fucking produce results. Because I was questioning the results. They wasn't really getting shit done. I'm like, man, yeah, I hear they name and a bunch of shit, but they ain't getting shit done. They get this done. Yeah, I send them the money again this year. Because now I see it working. And that's just how it works. You don't do good business. You don't do good business. So now you're walking around and you're mad and you're sweating and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you're saying to yourself, I ain't gonna lose nothing because I'm good. I'm straight because I got the brains and I've got the hustle and the momentum and the ambition and can't nothing stop me. And where one motherfucker won't, another motherfucker will. When you know what happens when people see people like that, they stop fucking with them. You too high strung. if you did good business across the board, and I do mean good business, if we could ask for those goddamn contract rates that you got from the shipper and you give them, and then we negotiate from there instead of this one-sided negotiation shit, we beg, you tell us what it's gonna be, it'd be a different story, but it ain't like that. So I'm all for the transparency. Transparency in politics, transparency in brokering for freight, transparency between me and my motherfucking woman, transparency everywhere, motherfucker. So what the fuck you hiding shit for? Everybody knows a motherfucker who's got something to hide is probably stealing. Can't believe these motherfuckers thought that they never get caught up. This shit would catch up with them. Drivers have been complaining all the time because you've been constantly pushing that threshold down to the bottom. Now we're underneath it. People are going out of business, losing their fucking savings and dreams going down the drain. And what do you got to say? That's all I got in it. Motherfucker. Transparency, motherfucker. That's all we got in it. I'll talk to you.